Okay, first order of business is the public hearing for the Watanabe property, 113. So can we get started on that? You guys ready to start?
Mike's
on and speak up, because.
It should, is it plugged in?
no lights.
Test.
Maybe is it something over there? We can share. We'll share this one.
Because I can't turn the amplifier up any further.
I won't fall. No worries.
The old drawing, by any chance?
Should be in here.
You're good to go?
Okay,
Wait, are you live?
let's make sure Ellen's ready. Yeah, this is right.
I don't. Grace, do you have the old drawings of
Watanabe?
the ones that were submitted last time by any
They
chance?
should still be in your file.
Are
unless
they?
You guys take them home, but yeah, there's probably old ones in here.
Yeah.
You have them, Pete?
Okay, so the current request for the zoning variance is for a 7-foot increase. Is that correct?
What's the height of structure?
Christian.
From 15 to 22, so it's a 7-foot
There you go.
request.
You gotta open this up, you gotta do flags, roll call.
Yeah, I know. Are we ready? May we proceed? Okay, I make a motion, we open the public hearing for the Mago Watanabe 113 Christie Court request for a height variance. May I have a second on that motion?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, let us open that public hearing. Olivia, could you please read the public notice?
Of course.
She's got a roll call first.
Oh, yes.
Oh, well,
Mark Lodi.
here.
Gary Guglielmetti.
Here.
Alan Vella.
Here.
Christian Lynch.
Here.
Henry Williams.
Okay, full house. Okay, so please read the public notice.
All right. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Shandaken Zoning Board of Appeals will continue its public hearing that was initially held on September 20th, 2023 pursuant to Section 267/A of the state law and as prescribed in the district schedule of bulk regulations of the Shandaken Town Code for the purpose of hearing the following applicant. Regarding an application for area variance submitted by Jeffrey Harden on behalf of Mago Watanabe for a parcel located at 113 Christie Court, indicated as SBL number 14.1-3-11, said parcel being in a residential 1.5 acre zoning district. The public hearing is scheduled for October 18th, 2023 at 6:45 p.m. at the Shandaken Town Hall, 7209 Route 28, Shandaken, New York. Anyone who wishes to make comment in regards to the application may do so during the public hearing. If you are unable to attend, you can send any comments you would like read during the meeting to shandakenbldg@gmail.com or P.O. Box 134, Shandaken, New York 12480. All such comments must be received no later than October 18th, 2023.
And were there any applications for the public hearing?
No, there were
No?
not.
Okay, nobody's here to speak. So we will open the regular meeting at 7 o'clock, which we're obligated to do because that's when the public tunes in for the video. And we will hear the Watanabe case first. We have some other things on the agenda, but we'll hear your case first so we can move it along and get out. So we need to give it a few minutes here. We'll start again at 7 o'clock. Okay, I make a motion, we close the public hearing for the Watanabe property. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So closed. Okay, gotta hang out for a few minutes. You've been through this drill before.
Before.
So we're not asking for a 7-foot variance on the height.
But that's it.
Yes.
So, microphones on, please. Okay, call to order, October 18th, zoning board of appeals for Shandaken, call to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance, Hal, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so first order of business is the height variance for the Watanabe property, 113 Christie Street. There was a previous application for a zoning variance for 13 feet, which this board found excessive. We denied that application and invited the applicant to give us a revised design submission, which they have. So that the new application is for a 7-foot height variance. There's nothing to do with square footage, it's strictly a height variance. My take on it is that the initial request was overly excessive and we felt we were setting a dangerous precedent. We asked for resubmission of a design, which you guys did with a lower height variance. So this is at the end of a cul-de-sac. It's a heavily wooded property. It's a heavily wooded neighborhood. So this new construction will not be seen from the road, especially with the lower height variance. It won't be seen from the neighbor's property. So I'm disposed to granting the 7-foot variance. Do we have any discussion on that?
I'm good with that.
You guys good with that?
No, I'd like to discuss the
You have a microphone.
fact that you claim that the second story is for storage, that the owner needs that much space for storage. So the first plan you submitted showed 2,000 feet on one floor, 2,000 feet on the second floor. Now these other plans that you just submitted show the height coming down 6 feet to 22 feet. And also, you've expanded the building to give you even more storage. So the purpose of granting a variance is that if there's no other way to grant the applicant the relief they need without a variance, and you just, to me at least, showed that you can expand the footprint of the property to give you the storage that you actually need without going up and needing the variance. And besides that, on the garage and pool house, it seems that the Board of Appeals must have given you a height variance on that, because that's 22 feet, and prior to that, it was an accessory structure, which should have been 15 feet. So you've already got some relief for the second residence now that's on the property.
We expanded it because our old thing, when you're asking for the 22-foot height, had a large shelf fence, which was probably, ran the length, it was probably 600 square feet, maybe 500 square feet.
And that was eliminated in the new.
Yeah, it's eliminated in the new one because our ceiling is down low.
And also, they're not asking for variance in the footprint. And they're allowed to build any footprint they want as long as they are within the area variance of the lot lines. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And just so you know, Mr. Watanabe is retiring. He's got a house in the city, north end, and 2 stores. 2 houses. Yeah, 2, full of merchandise, and his clothing, he's got vintage clothing.
we made the point at the previous meeting that with a lot size of that size, under 5 acres, they're only allowed to be allowed as
We
in the
have no
habitation.
plan for bathrooms, studio, anything.
Any other comments on Hank's opinions?
Outside of the fact that this board never granted them relief for that garage, they just got the permit. I don't know why or how they got the permit without a variance, but they did.
We would never ask.
Relief for the garage?
That they converted into, the pool house they converted into, it was originally a garage.
Those-
And Hank is absolutely correct, it was too tall, but they didn't get a variance.
Yeah, that was before my time.
When the garage was built, we would never ask.
Yeah, no, it's not on you. No, it's
No,
not,
yeah.
it's not your money.
Were you actually involved in that project?
Yes.
Okay.
I built the garage, but
Yeah, that's not under the purview of this discussion.
But I will say, I did drive by the site today, just to take a look at it myself, and it's very visible from the street, actually, from the road. It's not visible from, if you're down the cul-de-sac, but if you're out in front of the property on the cul-de-sac. The trees have now been cleared, actually, not all of them. It looks like
Oh, okay.
there's a good, maybe 2 or 3 more trees to go. They've got X's on them.
yes.
They,
Okay,
that's my understanding, and it's very visible from the street.
okay, those trees were still there when I did the drive-by.
But actually, he's planning on putting more plantings up there in front because he did not like the fact that he could see the street.
Okay.
But there, it seems to me, I mean, based on what I saw there today, there's more trees to go. I see X's on them, which means that it's going to,
3 or 4 with X's on them are not going to be present.
Okay.
Actually, on the flush of each side of the fence. But that's the ones we get like.
Yes.
But also, there's no public opposition to the view shed. So I
I'm
don't know if
just-
that should be a major concern for us.
Right.
I mean, it is at the very end of the cul-de-sac, which I'm assuming, zero drive-by. There's no impediment to public access, to public right-of-way, public byway. There's no impediment to access for emergency vehicles, which is primarily fire and medical issues. So I'm disposed to granting the variance. You guys down with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, is there a reason why you wouldn't expand the footprint to 50 by 75? It's already 40 by 75 with a 10-foot deck by 62 feet long on the front of it. And to me, it looks like a residence.
Well, we had to make the top bigger, so the bottom just got bigger. You know, I think that if anything, the bottom of this, the garage part might be excessive.
And
But
the-
that will still accommodate the square footage you have.
And the lift that's in it is an elevator.
There is a lift in there.
It may look like a residence, but that's beyond our
I
enforcement
understand.
capabilities. Gary, you have an opinion on this?
But no bathrooms, no hookups, you know, have an inspector, check it out in the slabs, you know, we'll see.
Gary, I see the wheels turning.
No, I'm just curious why you needed a second floor.
Okay. I'm prepared to make a motion, and we grant the 6-foot variance, I'm sorry, 7-foot variance.
Wait, there's 2 roof plans there, 2 roof line. One is 6 foot and the other 7 foot. Right? There's
There is?
two.
The 7 one
There's 2,
is a way better looking building.
well, there's 2 roof lines that you submitted. One is a cantilever in the front going down over the deck,
Yeah,
and the other is a straight flat roof going up on an angle.
Oh.
One is 1 foot higher than the other.
I understand.
I didn't catch that, thank you
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
The owner hated that.
Hated what?
Peter, which one?
Slope
Yeah,
down.
it slopes
That's the
down.
one that's lower.
So you're asking for the, you're asking for the total 22-foot height,
With this shed roof just running straight.
which would be a
Seven foot.
7-foot variance. I make a motion we grant a 7-foot height variance to the applicant's variance request. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
That's a roll call.
Roll call vote.
Oh, sorry.
Mark
I'll get this
Lodi?
straight. Yes.
Gary Guglielmetti?
Yes.
Alan Vella?
Yes.
Christian Lynch?
No.
Henry Williams?
No.
That's 3 out of 5. So moved. Variance granted.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your volunteering.
Yeah, thank you for your cooperation with the board. We appreciate that. Okay. Short and sweet. Yeah, I appreciate that. I didn't catch that. Variance.
Now we gotta do the minutes?
I think so. You okay, Olivia? Okay. May I, was there any amendment to the minutes as so submitted by the secretary? No.
No, that other one is corrected, right? Yes.
Yeah, I know it was a convoluted meeting last time. So, I make a motion, we accept the minutes as submitted by the secretary. May I have a second for that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes so accepted and submitted. Okay, second issue we have before us is the zoning board has been asked for clarification from the planning board for how the disposition of the gas pumps that are proposed for the new rebuilding of the Bel Air Plaza, how the disposition of those gas pumps should be regarded by the planning board.
Not, essentially, but not just the gas pumps, the project in its totality.
Can we frame the actual issue or interpretation that we have?
The question that the planning board poses to the zoning board of appeals is, what should be considered as they calculate the percent that project is increasing as they move through the site plan process for approval, essentially. So what is to be taken into consideration?
These 3 items or not, right? I mean, the 3
Well,
items.
there's,
Plaza, gas pumps,
we can go through it. There is the laundromat itself, which I believe should not be considered at all because it's not a pre-existing non-conforming use. It was an approved use by the planning board in 1993.
Right.
It's not a part of the pre-existing non-conforming use and therefore is not an issue about this percentage. The plaza itself, which obviously is going from what, 42
5732 to
to
72.
7,200. And then there is the issue of they are clearing some land.
Right,
They're going from 15,000 square feet of usable land to
24,000.
24. And the last one will be the gas pumps.
All right.
Should those gas pumps be a part of their consideration when they're calculating that percentage?
So the issue is this is a pre-existing non-conforming use that was in pre-existence before the zoning laws were written in 1976. Thank you. And the ruling zoning code, I'll read this just to make sure everybody's on the same page. Shall any lawful non-conforming use of buildings or open land in existence on the effective date of this chapter may be continued indefinitely if maintained in accordance with all applicable codes, ordinance, regulations, and other requirements, but shall not be enlarged or extended by more than 50%, altered, extended, reconstructed, or restored, except as provided in this article, or placed on a different portion of the lot or parcel of land occupied by such use on the effective date of this chapter, 1976, or shall any external evidence of such use be substantially increased by any means whatsoever. So they're asking for, the plans, what currently exists is 4 pumps. They're asking for expansion to 12 pumps. So that's a 300% increase.
200%. 4 to 12.
4 times
Yeah,
200%.
they've already got 4, so they're increasing it 200%.
Okay, 200%. So that far exceeds the 50% increase. So the planning board is asking the zoning board for an interpretation of whether or not that increase in the gas pumps should be incorporated into their calculus of a 50%
Of expansion.
increase.
Is that the only question they're asking, is the gas pumps?
What should be considered in that calculation? The
Meaning
land,
any
the gas pumps, I mean,
they-
obviously, the
they-
convenience store, but they're asking for this board to interpret what should be considered as they make that
So they
calculation.
want us to interpret that whole paragraph that you highlighted,
No.
Not the paragraph, no, just what
That's not my
constitutes that
understanding.
50%.
just the
What-
50%.
Of the gas pumps.
No,
No,
Well,
all of those.
well, I mean,
All
the-
three items.
But it is the gas pumps that make a difference here. If the gas pumps are deemed not.
No, this is also over 50%.
The land,
It is,
the
yeah.
land.
Of the building footprint is over 50%.
No, it's not.
No,
No, it's 25.
25%.
I gave you the Word document yesterday, but the increase for the plaza itself is 25%. The increase in the land, if that is to be considered, is 55%, and the increase for the gas pumps is 200.
and how about the increase to the laundry?
The laundry is
Not considered.
not to be considered. It's not a pre-existing non-conforming use and therefore not covered by this section of zoning code.
Okay, I mean, there's also, should this be taken into consideration that in 1976 Pine Hill was incorporated and had their own officials and their own zoning, they handled their
I
own
don't know how
zoning?
that could.
Pardon?
I don't know how that could.
I mean, legally, could that be, because they weren't part of the Shandaken system, and they weren't in the, I mean, they weren't in the Shandaken system in 1976.
No,
They didn't come into the system until 85.
So how's that
So
relevant?
does that-
What does mean?
So as of
Legally,
85
does that, is that taken into consideration for non-conforming pre-existing?
No. The short answer is no. I don't know what the long answer is. I don't know how it could be. I have no idea what Pine Hill's regulations looked like prior to them being swallowed by Shandaken, for lack of a better, incorporated.
They probably didn't even
Shandaken,
have it.
For lack of
I
a,
would
they
guess.
may have, but I don't know what they would have been. I can say that clearly, once that happened, the zoning districts were applied to Pine Hill, the maps were updated to include Pine Hill, and they're meant, and as of that date, which I believe was sometime in the 80s, they were
85.
meant to follow, as a part of Shandaken, they must follow Shandaken code.
So the Shandaken map showed the pumps?
No, we don't show pumps. The maps?
Yeah, does any map at all show any pumps?
No. No, I
But
only
they-
have the records that I have. I mean, the oldest map that I've got for the project, I believe this is dated. I sent you guys the email with the calculations and everything that happened in 93 and 2001, and they
Right.
were site plan approvals, which lends itself, everybody gets a picture in their head that there's a pretty site plan. There's not. There's a survey, which shows the store and the laundromat, but not the pumps. This was the map that was submitted when they converted the workshop into a laundromat. But it does not show the pumps.
And the 50% rule, you would take the cooler, the expansion of the cooler,
Yes, because it happened
that
after the adoption of code.
that would be calculated in part of the 50%, because it can
Yes.
only be expanded
taken away from the
50%. Yeah, it
Yeah.
can only be expanded by 50% total. It can't go from one owner to the other and say, I want to expand another 50% and go to the next owner and,
Right. Have to revert back to the original.
So what was that square footage?
Go on the wire, here's the.
204 square
Oh, they're
foot, so. What year?
Two pumps.
They're not labeled.
What year?
But they're there.
That looks like it is,
Stamp?
You see a date.
It's gotta be a date.
yeah, it's got
It's
to
1975.
That right there.
So these are the two pumps.
Yep.
What's the date?
75.
75.
August and hold half an hour.
And the buildings. So we know that that was, is that footprint similar to what's there now? It looks like it.
Yes,
Is there a laundry room there?
It says laundromat.
I believe they
Major
wrote
parking
on the
area.
survey and submitted it as a site plan. I believe they wrote on the survey that was drawn in 1975 and just labeled the buildings, which is why you're seeing laundromat on a
Yeah.
survey from 1975 when laundromat wasn't there until 1993.
Well, the building was there.
The building was there, yes. The application before the planning board, when they did that laundromat, was to convert an existing storage space for the plaza into a laundromat, not a house.
See that?
Which was permitted.
Yes, the laundromat's permitted use now.
Okay.
I mean, the way I look at the, at 116-58, it states that the use housed by a building is the issue. It's the use, the expanded use. You know, so it's not necessarily the building, and to me, it seems as though if the pumps are part of that use, and it's a non-conforming use, that it should in fact be considered within the 50%.
I agree.
You know, again, if you read it again, it says, you know, housed, that it is the use housed by a building, that's the plaza building, or open land, probably the pumps, that is at issue, and not necessarily the building itself. Continuing with this line of thought, 11658.1 states that the use shall not be enlarged or extended by more than 50%, altered or extended, reconstructed or restored, or placed on a different portion of the lot.
That's a whole nother.
So that's a whole nother story, but basically, based on that, we should be looking at the use. And if the use is extended, which means the gas pumps, then it should be considered as part of the 50%. That's the way I see it.
Okay.
I agree
So-
with that.
I tend to agree with that. What are you feeling?
Well, I mean, like I said, they got 4 pumps now,
Yep.
they want 12. Why not just say do 8?
That's still over.
Right, but it's not as,
Right. So, no, so this is not, we're not ruling on an application for variance. So we're not done with this issue. So it's something that will come up, which we would have an opportunity to debate and discuss immediately.
You know, that would go back to the planning board.
Go back to planning board first and the county planning board. They need to do on this also. So, but, so if we do say that the pumps are incorporated in the 50%, and I think your point is relevant, they're changing the position of the land also. This is all something that we need a variance from us and likely a variance from the county. So we're not done with this issue. But today, we are just.
Yeah.
County doesn't issue variances.
We don't?
No.
I mean, there's also, but, you know, by the way, also, if you look at the definition of structure, and, you know, the title of this section is called non-conforming uses and structures. If you look at the definition of structures in the book, an example of a structure is a gas pump in the definitions. So that tells you right there that it should be considered part of the use.
I'm in
I think
agreement.
we're all in agreement.
Well, it's permanent,
It's permanent.
can't be moved. It has an entire roof over the whole system.
It
Which
has
has
a
got to
cement,
expand.
has a cement pad. They do an extensive excavation underneath for the tanks. So to my mind, it's a permanent structure.
And also the expanded use of the property,
Which is something else, you know.
which is more parking, stacking of cars on,
That's a whole nother story.
Well,
There's a
You
lot of
better
other
discuss
issues.
that.
so,
What?
You must discuss that. That's a part of what they asked
Yeah.
you for.
it's, you know,
That-
So-
that
so
that's
would-
please-
expanding the use
Can I
of
ask-
Yes.
the property.
That would
So
require
after
a
our
variance.
interpretation,
Yeah.
this goes back to the planning board?
Your opinion goes to the planning board,
And then what?
and then they base their decision around that, I assume.
And they can approve that?
I think that would be up to us to approve the variance that we.
They cannot
needed.
approve
They
the
would
site
kick it
plan
back.
that goes against code, but they
Right.
can certainly refer the applicant to this board for a
They
variance.
would kick
That,
it
well,
back.
that's what they would
Yes.
have to do, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
If it goes
saying.
against code, they would
Yeah.
have to come back to us.
Okay.
And that includes moving the.
Everything.
The retail shops.
There's a lot
It
of
includes
To a
the
different
site plan,
location.
it includes anything that's causing the project to go over that 50% allowable mark. That is what that is.
As well as the positioning of the structure.
The relocation of the building.
The relocation of the building is creating buildings that are more in compliance with code than they are now. I don't know, no, it is, they're set 12, back 12 feet right now. They're gonna be, they would be set back 25.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, but
Makes
it
it easy.
still says that you're not supposed to move them, right?
It-
Doesn't
it's-
It
that
does, it
paragraph
says
say-
except as allowed in this chapter.
If you go down to
Doesn't
the
say
next
extend.
chapter, though, the next chapter says it shouldn't be moved at all. It says, here, it says in 11658.1 states that nor shall any external evidence of such non-conforming use be substantially increased by any means whatsoever. If the gas pumps are considered part of the non-conforming use or as extreme evidence or as external evidence of the non-conforming use, then worst case scenario, they should not be allowed at all.
If that issue
If-
is referred to this board, then you can address it, yeah,
At such time as it is referred to the board.
correct.
So if I make a resolution that this board's recommendation to the planning board is that the gas pumps should be included in the 50%
And what about the land?
calculus,
I would say
Yeah.
land use.
Land,
should
land
be
and the
included too.
building.
should be included as well. So if I make
Nice.
that resolution,
All
are we all
three
in
items.
agreement with that? Okay, so,
Yep.
you good?
Yep,
I make a resolution that the recommendation from the zoning board to the planning board and the request as to how to regard the gas pumps and land usage vis-a-vis the 50% restriction due to the non-conforming pre-existing use, that the gas pumps be figured in the calculus of the 50% increase in land usage.
plaza, gas pumps, and land, as stated here.
Plaza gas pumps and land. Did you get that, Olivia? May I have a second for that motion?
Second it.
Any seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Gas pumps and land use are in fact to be included and calculated in the 50%.
Can we discuss
Okay.
the rest of this?
Yeah, really.
To be continued.
Can we
Sure.
discuss any of the rest of these things, issues, that may be upcoming?
We will need to discuss it. You said
Can we
you want-
discuss
You
it?
want to discuss it now? Is that
just so-
appropriate? Or
I don't know.
Should we not have a variance request in
Yeah, I
front of
guess
us?
so, yeah, yeah.
Before we, I think
Right.
so.
Yeah.
I think we should table any further
Okay.
discussion. We can certainly have discussion between ourselves.
Well, can we?
No, you cannot.
No, we can if it's two people.
If it's two of you, yeah, go ahead, talk
If it's two
away.
people.
I'm
If
not
it's
here.
more than two
Everybody
people,
split
it's
off.
three people, that's a quorum, and that has to be conducted.
I'll
in
talk
a
to myself, you
public
guys
venue.
can.
I talk to myself all the time. Single child, or only child raised by a single mother.
Well,
I
you talk to me
myself
too, I
all
don't
the
know
time.
if I forget, but, you know.
I think
But yeah,
that's
that's by state law.
Can you read back that resolution?
And also-
Make sure it's correct.
That would be you.
Olivia,
Chair Lodi made a resolution to include the gas pumps, the land, and the plaza as per the increase of the 50% use. Does that make sense? Yeah.
calculation of the 50%
Yes,
use?
calculation. Sorry, I'm a little messy
Calculated
here.
in
Does that cover it for you guys?
the land, yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing missing that I'm concerned about is the laundromat.
Yeah, I didn't.
You guys can overrule me if you want, but it's
I'd
my
like to
opinion that
overrule
it's
you.
absolutely not a pre-existing non-conforming use, because they got approvals in '93.
With a special
Yeah, but
permit,
it
they
was
did,
part of-
and it's allowed.
Discuss.
I'm just saying if it was part of the business, even if it was a residence, he expanded the business, or they expanded the business of the retail store and incorporated now more by,
No, what she's saying though, that's not, you can't say that because that's not part of what the code is referring to. It's referring to the non-conforming,
use.
pre-existing use of that property.
Which is no
That-
longer-
That is not in that,
Which is no longer non-conforming because they had the special
Special use.
permit.
right.
Special permit, all right, I
So you
understand,
have to take that out.
I understand.
What I do want to know is, when and if this comes back to us, we can have a frank discussion here with everybody here about all the different parts of what's going on here.
If it comes back to us. We could
Because
have
anything
discussions
that's
now
before
if two
this
go over
board,
here,
yes,
You
and two
cannot
go
just
over
have an
there.
arbitrary discussion about a piece of it that's not included in an application for variance.
Excuse me?
Right.
Repeat that?
You can discuss anything that's pertinent to the variance that's applied for. That may not include every aspect of the project, that's all I'm saying.
Can they apply for a variance with leaving things out that may be relevant? In other words,
How could they?
I don't know.
Well, yes,
That's what I'm
they could.
asking.
How could they?
They could apply for a separate variance for a specific, for example, where the parking spaces are
Right.
located.
Right.
We would have to adjudicate that.
Well, so they have to do separate ones for each one of these things that don't fall into the code?
I don't think it would have to. I would.
I mean, that would work in their favor. The retail aspect of the business is allowed in the zoning district. The laundromat is allowed in the zoning district. The only thing that's not allowed in the zoning district is the gas pumps, technically.
And those were pre-existing.
If you want to
non-conforming.
piecemeal out the site plan like that, I don't even know if you're allowed to, but if you can, then that would work to the applicant's advantage. Like I said, the retail is allowed in a Hamlet commercial. The serving of the food is allowed in a Hamlet commercial. The laundromat's allowed. The only
Yeah.
thing that's not is the gas station. So, and I suppose that's pumps. What else is a station? Because the convenience store covers the financial end of it, so it's all sort of just incorporated. So perhaps the only thing that plays into that calculation is the gas pumps. Now you've opened up a brand new conversation that's actually quite relevant, and so you're gonna have to figure that out if you could for me. Discuss.
Yeah.
It's incredibly relevant to what we're talking about. It's something that you should discuss.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be hearing
Yes.
more of this issue.
Yes.
But for now, we are settled that this board feels that the gas pumps and usage should all be incorporated into the 50% calculus of non-conforming pre-existing use and what is allowed and what is not.
Very
Got that? Okay.
Well
Any-
done.
Thank you. Same to you. And thanks for everybody for doing this deep research. So the public should know that we have an engaged board, that although we're all volunteer, we've been doing a deep dive into the research, so we have a board here that has made certain that we know what the hell we're talking about. So thank you for doing that extra work, guys. Any further business for tonight's meeting? No? I make a motion we close tonight's meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So adjourned.
Good work, Alan.
Thank you, folks.
He's quick on the trigger for the seconds.
We did a lot of research.
I even brought my calculator.
What I need the site plan back. I may have them.
What, these big ones? This one back, you want the nothing back?
Oh, no, I she'll take it.
Violet? I don't think you keep it.
Not unless you want to.
I mean, you have record.
Do.
Olivia, do you need my signature or anything?
I don't think so. Not yet. Next time. Thank you, Gary. Next meeting, I'll have stuff for you.
Accessory structure. Yes. The planning board was asking for their opinion. They never heard from them. That's what the whole point of this is. They will likely discuss this at the next workshop. I will likely contact the applicant tomorrow to inform him that if he intends to have the site plan approved as it sits, he's gonna need a variance from this board for the gas pumps specifically, and perhaps for the relocation of the buildings. We'll have to figure that out. We're gonna have to workshop it, I think.
Thanks, everyone. See you.
All right, take care.
Yeah, you guys might be getting an email from me. You might get an email from me. I'm gonna call Mike North tomorrow and let him know. He's gonna want a variance. But I feel like you guys are gonna wanna talk about this more. Because if I call him tomorrow and tell him you need a variance in relief of the 50% that's pertinent to the gas pumps and the gas pumps only, and he comes here prepared for that, and this board then tells him, well, wait, you're gonna need another one to relocate everything.
Well, we do.
That's not good.
They referred it for only the 50%, but there's a lot more.
There's a lot more. There are
But the
parking
board
spots.
is